So today is my 28th birthday, and the first thing that came to mind is if I had my 18-year-old self sitting here with me, what would I want to say? There's a lot of things that I want to say. I think the first thing being gaining perspective as young as you are brings so much more value versus trying to gain perspective when all of your identities and beliefs and your frontal lobe at 25 is fully formed, before you're already settled into your whole life, your job, your career. Taking that opportunity to travel, to read books, to simply gain perspective of different walks of life, different ways you can choose to live life, different ways people have lived life themselves and their advice to you. I think since we're so young, it's like, okay, well, there's this girl that I know or this guy that I know and he lives in my town and, he's really attractive and so I want to be with that person and they're the one for me. And, I know this job because I have seen my dad do it or my uncle do it or my friend's dad does it. And so he wants to have me do this job and this makes the most sense for me and something I'm going to do from 18 to 60 years old and then retire. Or, I've only been in one place where we have like these parks and these waterfalls and this whatever and this hiking trail. Everything that I need is here. I don't need to leave. I don't need to go anywhere else. Those, in my opinion, those narrow-minded thought processes happen because of your lack of perception. Now, what's beautiful about perception is you can still make that same free will choice. It's just having a collection of thoughts and ideas and lifestyles that aren't necessarily yours, but you get to learn from and then still choose the beliefs that you want to live with. Let's say, for example, right, you read all these books, you go all these places, and you realize, man, San Francisco, this is where I enjoy, this is where I want to spend my life. It's knowing all the better that you spent the time going to other places, seeing what you had liked, and then coming to realize, gaining more intrinsic, motivation and sentimental value to the place that you come from. It gives you appreciation and perception about things that are going on outside of your daily life, lifestyles that have nothing to do with you. And then at the same time, it gives you reverence or a sense of like peacefulness that, okay, yeah, these are the places that I've gone to, but I really enjoy where my feet are and where I am and where I come from and my family and the things that they've had to go through. As early as you can understand that as possible at your age, 18, it just does so much more for you. I feel like a lot of people at 18 years old, they're worried about, a lot of silly things, possessions, clothes, shoes, little girlfriends and boyfriends and running around and I don't know, partying, what college is like. Those are all definitely things you should grow through and learn from. But I guess my advice to my 18-year-old self would be try to gain perspective, read books, meet people, shake hands, network, go learn about different walks of life. The next thing that I would say is don't worry about what other people have to say about you, have to say about a multitude of things. The only opinions that should matter are yours and people that you truly trust. And there's a lot that comes with trusting somebody to give them your energy and time for their creative opinion. I think that's super important too, is not taking advice from everybody, but then you could also make the mistake of accidentally listening to the opinion of people who aren't aligned with what you want, or their creative opinion is nowhere near the imaginative life or whatever. They don't have the same walk of life that you do. So you have to be very careful at your age where you gain advice from, creative opinion. And honestly, if these aren't people like yourself or your close friends or your family, I would not care about whatever they have to say, whatever they have to feel, whatever they have to think. I've spent so much time when I was younger rewatching videos or rewatching stories or, what kind of clothes I want to wear based on the validation or lack thereof from other people. I think it's a superpower to not care about a lot of things. And then on the flip side, to care about things that really matter to you. The book, obviously, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, by Manson, he talks about this perfectly, and he basically says you have to figure out what you choose to give a fuck about, because if you choose to give a fuck about everything and everyone, you're going to have no more energy for yourself to chase the things that you want, to chase the person that you want to be, the highest version of yourself. So I would try your best to not care about the opinions of other people based on whatever it is that you want to do, whoever it is that you want to be, because the way society is, they love to compare other people's dreams and aspirations to theirs. Their projection of what they think your dreams are have nothing to do with you. That's why it's super important to trust the creative opinion of people that you love and know that they have your best interest. And the selflessness to say, let's say if I want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, and I talk to my 9-to-5 friend, will he put his projection on me, his creative opinion, his, shortcomings on me and my dreams simply because he couldn't amass and reach the things that I'm trying to do, Or say he is an entrepreneur, can he not project his journey onto mine and make it seem like something that it's not? It takes a lot of selflessness. It takes a lot of perception to really give advice, creative opinion. You have to be so careful about whose opinion, whose perception you really care about. And instead of trying to use all this energy to suppress where you find advice, I think you need to spend more time being intentional about whose advice you trust. Trusting people, I've had people in my life, especially when I was young and in college, there was people's opinions that I trusted that honestly, they ruined a lot of, not ruined, but they sabotaged a lot of opportunities for me. I didn't go in with the same amount of excitedness or ambition or drive because my dreams or these thoughts that I were having were watered down. I mean, when I first started making videos and TikTok back in 2020, where I reached 100,000 followers in a year, a lot of my friends were like, nah, you shouldn't do that. That's cringy. That's weird. I don't know why you'd make videos like nobody's on TikTok. And sure enough, like that helped propel me into meeting other people, networking, handshaking. And that was the start of my journey. 6 years ago, I think it was on Valentine's Day of 2020 was when I first started making videos. And I'm so thankful that I didn't allow those people's ideas and opinions to water my shine down, to rain on my parade per se. It's crazy how fast you go from 18 to 28. I still remember me graduating high school, being wide-eyed. I had already committed to school to go play basketball, and I was just super excited, and I wanted to move forward, and I was tired of being a kid living in my mom's house, and I wanted to move on. And I understand that you might have some sort of excitedness for the future to, speed up, but I will tell you right now, from a 28-year-old person, I wish I got to go back and be 18 and have the freedom to choose who it is that I want to be at my parents' expense. Obviously, it was their obligation, and I'm super thankful for my parents. But the freedom that you had to be whoever it is that you want to be, within reason, obviously you're under your parents' care, you guys have so much time and freedom to really choose who it is that you want to become. When you fast forward into being on your own and having your own responsibilities and your own bills to pay, it's where shit gets real, A lot of people have a depression once they leave school because they're like, man, I didn't realize that, I might be on my own, but I'm on my own paying for things or doing things that I didn't have to be responsible for that my parents took care of. So, really appreciating your parents for what they do for you. They're your caretakers. They pay your bills. They pay the shoes that you wear. I had to buy all this myself, guys. I'm 28 years old. My parents aren't buying me anything anymore. There's a lot of responsibility. You can completely throw your life away if you're not careful. But when you're 17, 18 years old, your parents will literally not allow that to happen. It's like you have this perfect barrier. You're going bowling and the barriers are up. Like, you have to really appreciate your parents for what they are and be thankful for that, because it allows you the creative freedom to figure out who it is that you want to be. The one thing I also will say as well, these kids nowadays, they're so worried about the perception of other people, right, that they would rather be mysterious and ominous and nonchalant. Like, that's the thing to do nowadays in 2026. And in my opinion, that's probably the dumbest thing you could do if you ever want to become somebody special. I mean, name one business owner, name one professional basketball. Yeah, this NFL player is super nonchalant. Well, in the game, he's a completely different person. He's a monster out there, right? They have two different egos, personalities. The point I'm trying to make is anybody that's successful in life that they're not nonchalant. So why are you nonchalant? For the validation of, oh my God, he's so ominous. Like, I don't know, he's so mysterious. Like, what is there money to be made there? Like, I'm confused. Where does the financial freedom come into play? Where does the monetary gain come from you being nonchalant, having no posts on your Instagram, and you have no sense of like personal brand? Yeah, obviously I've been doing this for some years, but I get paid to be me. I get paid off of my personal brand, my image and likeness. I get paid for. And if I was a couple years later in this NIL stuff with the NCAA, I'd be getting paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for my image and likeness. So all of that to say, your personal brand matters so much more than the validation of others that you're mysterious or nonchalant or that you don't care. Like, people that don't care about the smallest things, validation of other people, validation of my friends, it's whatever about these clothes, or I could live life however I see fit. That not caring trickles in to other parts of your life where, unfortunately, you're going to act like you don't care, but you're going to have to care before you can't pay your bills, you can't pay your rent. Someone's going to tell you what to do, right? Let's say, I'm nonchalant, right? But then now I'm 22 years old and I work somewhere where I don't really feel like working, but I kind of do it because it's whatever. Now you have a boss that tells you what to do. You have to go do this. Go clean the toilets. And you could be nonchalant about it, but you still have to go do it. That's the part that I'm trying to get you to understand is no matter how nonchalant or how much you don't care, blah, 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 there's going to be things in your life that you're going to have to do. So why not choose to do the things that you want to do? And being nonchalant will not get you there in any way, shape, or form. It's like a weird trend that you guys are into. Oh, man, it's whatever. It's whatever. Okay, well, if it's whatever when you're 18, what happens when you're 28? Is it still going to be whatever? No, it's not. It's the opposite of whatever for me. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm older and I realize that time is of the essence and like I'm about to hit 30 in a couple years and it's like, man, what am I going to do? I'm on track. I'm the person who I want to be. I'm always striving to be the best version of myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I get paid to be me. But it's like even now that sense of urgency is still so necessary to be who it is that we want to be. David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell, it talks about how the most successful businessmen, the most successful artists, content creators, whatever, in their mind, they always act like they're Goliath, right? David, I'm so sorry I botched that. You have to feel like you're David in the story of David and Goliath where he had a sling and he slayed the giant and the Goliath was in over his head. He thought that David was just somebody that was this little scrawny kid. There was no way he was going to beat him. And sure enough, having that underdog spiritual feeling by your side, it gives you so much more urgency and ambition and drive to go be who you always want to be. And the trick is that when I become a Goliath level personal brand or content creator or business owner, can I still keep the mindset of a David? That I feel like I'm always going up against Goliaths. And even though I'm like a wolf in sheep's skin, that I actually am a Goliath. But no, in my mind, I'm a David waiting to sling the next giant, ready to take on the world, knowing that I have that drive and ambition to reach more, And obviously I'm thankful for where I am and recognizing that, like having time to reflect. But out in the world, there's no room to be a David against Goliaths and you're nonchalant. Could you imagine if David went up to Goliath and was like, it's whatever. It's whatever. Goliath would be like, all right, it's whatever. Then I'm about to kill you. Like, anyways, I make the funny analogy, but yeah, man, being nonchalant, it gets you nowhere. The faster you realize that and you start worrying about, because if you create a product or a business or you're a content creator or anything that you want to do, go be a professional basketball player, you're going to have to sell yourself. You're going to have to be an advocate for your own personal brand. People are not going to care after a while. Yeah, they care at 18 years old. Oh, it's so ominous. Oh, so mysterious. But 22, 23, when you're walking around and you're not talking to anybody and you're hella quiet, like people are going to be like, all right, well, you're weird. And then they're going to go live their life. Like being extroverted, being fun, being innovative, being a person to be around is so, so valuable. And there's no room for nonchalant, being quiet all the time. There's no room for that. I'll tell you this. One of my best friends, he owns a media company in Portland, Oregon. It's super successful. I'm talking like working with Nike, like face-to-face with LeBron and Kyrie. And he told me that, he read it in a book, and this is something that he abides by as a CEO. He would much rather take somebody who is open and honest and talkative and a good person to be around and only has 80% output versus somebody who's nonchalant or hard to be around or super quiet or not fun to work with and gives you 100% of output. And I see it myself in the businesses that I'm a part of, The people that you enjoy being around, it makes work so much more fun. People that are talkative, people that love to have conversation and network, people will be willing to take somebody who's not as good as somebody else at their job simply because they're fun to be around. They're not hella quiet and in their own little world and looking mysterious. Like, people don't really care about that. They want to have open and honest conversations and feel like it's a sense of family. A lot of sales, a lot of handshaking, a lot of grandfathered in, a lot of not what you know, who you know opportunities come from your ability to talk and be open and be honest and be cool and not be weird. I'm just trying to get you guys to understand, and I'm trying to use a vernacular that makes sense for 18-year-olds. You being nonchalant or about whatever, like, no one's going to take a chance on you. Like, sure, oh, my dad has a business and he got me kind of, yeah, okay, whatever. That's like the weird standard deviation, rare occurrences. I'm talking about real life. So, I don't know how long I harped on that nonchalantness. Okay, yeah, we're doing pretty good. And, I want to say this too. You guys are so young, right? And it's such an honor to hear about kids 18 years old that tell me, oh, I'm into music, or I'm growing this business, or I'm growing this shoe business, or I'm in the content creation. It's such a breath of fresh air, because if there's one thing that I've realized at 20 years old, I wish I would have started sooner. And I know everybody says that, but genuinely, I wish I would have started making content, making music, writing books, something. I wish I would have got into it earlier because of this idea called compound interest. So, for example, in my retirement account, the whole point of having a retirement account in your Roth IRA is that when you accumulate money, you can look this up on ChatGPT if you want an expert analysis, the amount of money that you build up based on the time of the market mixed in with, it's not residuals, dividends, right? And those naturally build up, and the younger that you start, the more compound interest that you have. And if you put in X amount of dollars at the age of 18, you'll have millions of dollars tax-free at the age of 59 and a half versus being somebody like my age at 28 or somebody at 38 or somebody at 48. The amount of time of compound interest doesn't compound the same way if you're a lot younger. And even a difference of 10 years, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Me starting my Roth IRA now versus 18, I'm missing out on hundreds of thousands. And I think that also has something to say about working on music, or working on photography, or content creation, or building a business, or providing a service. You starting as early enough as you can, getting in business, networking, shaking hands, meeting people, building something, it creates compound interest, so that when you're my age, you get to really see things that other people will be like, man, I'm so new to this. What is equity? What is, what are my margins, and what is my mission statement? You're already like, okay, I've already experienced those things at such a young age. These are things that I can put into my backpack and understand faster. I've met this person. I've been in scenarios, in rooms, talking about business deals worth millions of dollars. This is something that I feel natural in. This is a situation that I can read, that I feel comfortable in because I've experienced before. The compound interest that builds, it's so much valuable starting earlier. And that's not bad to say that I've started, only a couple of years ago. Being a full-time entrepreneur, like, there's still compound interest for me as well. The point I'm trying to make is for you, the youngins. There's so much value in building compound interest on who it is that you want to be. Starting earlier, it's hard to not worry about the things that a lot of 18-year-olds are worried about, but there's a lot of value there for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. I still feel like I'm 24 years old. I just turned 28, but I swear, like, I feel like I just graduated college and I'm still wide-eyed. And it's like time just flies so fast, man. I remember my first day of college. I remember my first day of high school. I remember my first day of, not middle school. But the point is, you have time, and at the same time, you don't. It's a balance. It's the way this universe works. It's like God wants to show you that you do have time and opportunity, but at the same time, the clock is ticking. So I'm so thankful that I've lived the life that I have, and the people that I've met, and all these things that have happened in my life. But I don't have any regrets. But there are things that I wish my 18-year-old self would know. And so that's the first thing that came to my head on my birthday, was to think about if there's even one 18-year-old kid out there, 19, 20-year-old kid, that's out there thinking about who it is that they want to be. Hopefully, I can add some perspective to them about who it is that they want to be. Hearing it from somebody that's just a little bit higher. Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you. I'm Unc, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm still in a position where I know what it's like to feel young. I guess, is there anything else trivial that I'd want to say about being 18 years old? Don't rush into love. I'm telling you guys right now, none of your guys' frontal lobes are fully developed. You guys have no idea who you are, what you want, your core beliefs. You think you do, but I would allow yourselves time to grow. It's not to say that your wife can't be right in front of you at 18 years old. That's not what I'm saying. Just really give yourself time to be who it is that you want to be. A lot of relationships, they get into serious, lifelong relationships. But me at 28 and me at 18 are two completely different people. Like, I was nowhere near as perceptually keen or spiritual or understanding of other people's emotions and thoughts and feelings. And I was so selfish at my age, not in a bad way, but you know how naturally kids are just selfish. Like, I'm two completely different people. I could never expect to have a wife or somebody that I really care about for a long time. Like, I didn't even know who I was. So I would just be careful in that search for love. I think what you need to do is find search of self, mastery of self. I think that's far more important at your age. Things will come and go, people will come and go, but the lessons that you can learn along the way while paying attention, having a sense of urgency, not being nonchalant, striving to be whoever it is that you want to be, I think that's the most important. My girlfriend, she's wonderful, and I'm getting to that age where I'm just a lot older, and I know that God brought her to me. I didn't go running for her. I didn't go running looking for her. She literally showed up out of nowhere, I swear. And maybe I get into it one day, but I promise you, she just showed up out of nowhere. The most craziest thing, and now she's just in my life. And I'm so glad that I was single for a couple years, like 4 years. I was so thankful that I worked on myself for that time, knowing that somebody like her was on the way. So thankful. I spent my time focusing on myself instead of worrying about things that aren't necessary. Allocating your time, figuring out what really matters. And, I always talk about, the Think and Grow Rich saying by Napoleon Hill, having a chief definite aim, a burning desire, and unwavering faith, and the physical equivalent will be inevitable. I think that's super important for you young guys and girls to find what it is that you want. And it might change, and that's okay because you're gaining perspective. But trying to figure out at all times, what is it that I want? Who is it that I want to be? It's very important. A lot of people don't know what they want until they're freaking 40. And by then it's too late because they have a wife, 2 kids, and a job that they can't leave. Trying to figure out who it is that you want to be as early as possible, and then start working on that. Start manifesting that. Start talking to God about that. Start reading books on it. Start meeting people. Start shaking hands. Start going to events. Compound interest. So what I want to do now is I want to do a guided meditation. So if you don't mind finding somewhere on the ground, somewhere that feels comfortable. And what I want you to do is we're going to take 3 deep breaths. So in and out. 2 more times. In and out. 1 more time. In and out. And what I want you to do is truly close your eyes for me. It'll be fine. It's only going to last a couple of minutes. And what I want you to do is truly visualize the highest version of yourself. The dream version of yourself. Dream body, dream career, dream house, you name it. Think about the highest version of yourself. Visualize what this person looks like, what they do in their day, the size of their house, the type of car, the type of life they live, the job, the career that they go to. And now ask yourself, what's stopping me from becoming that person? And a lot of you will say money or an opportunity or whatever. Those are all limitations in your mind. What I need to get you to understand is that person that you visualize, there is infinite amount of possibility and freedom for you to be that person. What you need to do is figure out how to get there. chief definite aim, burning desire, and unwavering faith in the physical equivalent will be inevitable. If you were to walk away from my show and never watch another episode again, living without limitations opens up the possibility of anything and everything to take place in your life. Live without limitations. If I were to ask you, can you get $1 million next year? And if you were to say any excuse as to why you can't, it's simply a limitation. And that might sound insane, but your subconscious mind has trained you to literally think that that's a limitation. The highest version of yourself is possible. You just have to take that first step and figure out what it is that you want, who it is that you want to be. Stop spending time being nonchalant. Stop spending time doing things that aren't important to who you are right now, to your 28-year-old self. Time flies, man. Time truly flies. Okay, you can open your eyes now. There's other episodes that I have on here. If you're interested, I try to keep the title close to what the topic is talking about. So if there's anything else that you feel like you can gain value from my videos, like, go right on ahead. This is a place that's going to sit here forever, and I'm just going to keep posting until I believe I have the manifestation that this already is a community, that there already are people that are watching and paying attention and gaining perspective, thought-provoking concepts with things they can resonate with in their own life. So I appreciate you guys, man. I'm thankful that I can even do this. And that this idea came to me, and this is awesome. So I have a email that's attached to the bottom of this video, and if you guys have anything you want to talk about, anything ever, I'm here. And we're still pretty early in this journey. This only has like 1,000 subscribers. We only get a couple dozen views per video. So right now, more than ever, it's a great opportunity I'm a resource for any of you 18-year-old kids that have questions about anything. I'm here. So, all right, life is good. Life is truly good. I promise you. Time flies, man. My 18-year-old self feels like yesterday. All right, I'll see you on the next one.